Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yasodhanandana Brajajanaranjana Yasodhanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari. Dayora Dhammadava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yasodhanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari. Jayora Dhammadava Kunja Bihari. Jayora Dhammadava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Gaur Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 12th chapter, texts number 17 and 18. 18 is on the board, so I will just read 17. Chapter is entitled Creation of the Kumaras and Others. Alaṁ prajābhiḥ sṛṣṭābhir īdṛśībhiḥ surottama mayā saha dahantībhir diśaś cakṣurbhir ulbaṇaiḥ. Brahma told Rudra, O best among the demigods, there is no need for you to generate living entities of this nature. They have begun to devastate everything on all sides with the fiery flames from their eyes, and they have even attacked me. Text 18. Tapa ātiṣṭha bhadraṁ te. Tapa ātiṣṭha bhadraṁ te. sarva-bhūta-sukhāvaham. Sarva-bhūta-sukhāvaham. Tapasaiva yatha purvam. Tapasaiva yatha purvam. Sṛṣṭābhiḥ idam bhavan. Sṛṣṭābhiḥ idam bhavan. Tapatiṣṭha bhadraṁ te. sarva-bhūta-sukhāvaham. Tapasaiva yatha purvam. Sṛṣṭābhiḥ idam bhavan. Ladies. ātiṣṭha bhadraṁ te sarva-bhūta-sukhāvaham tapasaiva Tapa. Go ahead. Tapaha, penance. Ātiṣṭha, be situated. Bhadraṁ, auspicious. Te, unto you. Sarva, all. Bhūta, living entities. Sukha-āvaham, bringing happiness. Tapasa, by penance. Eva, only. Yata, as much as. Purvam, before. Sṛṣṭā, will create. Vishvam, the universe. Idam, this. Bhavan, yourself. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. So this is Lord Brahma speaking to Rudra, who just appeared from his forehead and started expanding and doing what Rudra does, destroying everything. My dear son, you had better situate yourself in penance, which is auspicious for all living entities, and which will bring all benediction upon you. By penance only shall you be able to create the universe as it was before. Purport. In the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation, the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar, or Shiva, are respectively in charge. Rudra was advised not to destroy while the period of creation and maintenance was going on, but to situate himself in penance and wait for the time of dissolution, when his services would be called for. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadhati Swapadantikam Jayasi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripadamaham vande Sri Gurudinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. So the blessings of all the devotees, all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, especially our Vert seniors. This is a very interesting section of the Bhagavatam. Is it possible to stop that sound in there? Thank you. And why is it interesting? Because this is the creation by Brahma. This is a secondary creation. The primary creation is done by the Lord himself. The secondary creation is done by Lord Brahma. So, he had created the four Kumaras and he asked them to create offspring. They refused because they wanted to fulfill the higher purpose of self-realization. Brahma got angry. He contained that anger because he knew that it's not appropriate to show anger, especially not in front of saintly persons like the four Kumaras. But because he's Brahma, he's the creator, so from his forehead, Rudra just appeared. And Rudra immediately started expanding into many, many different forms. And they started tearing up the universe. And this was terrible because Brahma had his service was to actually create and to expand the universe, not to destroy things. There's a loudspeaker on in here. I don't know if anybody's in there. It's locked and no one's there. Okay. So we'll have to work with it. Yes. Well, Hare Krishna. So Brahma wanted to create, and Rudra was doing the opposite. He was just undoing whatever Brahma is doing. Have you ever been in a situation like that? You're trying to do some service and someone else is just busy trying to do the opposite? It's disappointing, to say the least. So Brahma told Rudra, cool it down. Just sit down and engage in austerity. He says, by penance only can one approach... Oh, 1 second. Got to be in the right spot here. O best among the demigods, there is no need for you to generate living entities of this nature. They have begun to devastate everything on all sides with the fiery flames from their eyes. And they have even attacked me. So he told him, okay, this is what's happening, and it's not ideal. And please situate yourself in penance, which is auspicious for all living entities. So penance is the topic, and there are different types of penance or austerity that are recommended according to Bhagavad Gita. We have the austerity of speech. Anudvega karam vakyam satyam priyam hitam chayat. What is it? It is to speak things that are truthful, pleasing, and beneficial, and in relation to Vedic wisdom. That's austerity of speech. So austerity is a necessary requirement. Without austerity, nothing gets done. Like many of your students, you have to go to school. You have to do your exams. You have to show up for morning program. You have to show up for class. Why? Because it's a requirement. It's an austerity. But you accept it. Why you accept it? Because you understand, okay, there's some benefit to it. I do something, I get something. But what is my motivation? Why am I doing it? There's austerity in the mode of ignorance. What is that? What is austerity in the mode of ignorance? Hiranyakashipu, thank you. Yes, Hiranyakashipu. Or Vrikasura, chopping off his own flesh and offering that. That's austerity in the mode of ignorance. Do you see that going on in the world? Plenty of that, right? Austerity in the mode of ignorance. It's not for a good purpose. It's not doing good to you, not doing good to others. But they just seem to not know any better. But they're very austere. So just being austere does not qualify you to be an advanced person, a spiritual person, or a devotee. Sometimes we mistake. We think, oh, this person is so austere. This person is so, not eating. What was that person who was eating a handful of dust every day? What was his name? Work with me, sadhus. You remember that one? He was eating a handful of dust, and he got blessings. So, of course, you do austerity, you get a result, but then what do you do with the result? Just like Vrikasura, he got the blessing, and then he wanted to kill Shiva with the same blessing that he received. And that's why in the previous purport that we heard yesterday, Rameshwar Prabhu's beautiful class, Srila Prabhupada was saying that oftentimes the devotees of Lord Shiva, they're using whatever potency they got from him, not only for bad purposes, but against Lord Shiva, and they're trying to kill him. So, just being austere is not make you anything except a person who has got some credit and then can use that credit to his advantage. Then, austerity in the mode of passion. Who comes to your mind? Huh? Brahma. Is he doing austerity in the mode of passion? Ravana. Yeah, he wants unlimited opulence, unlimited enjoyment. And he's performing severe austerity, and he's getting blessings, and he's using it for his own sense gratification. But ultimately, it's destroying him and the people around him. Then we have austerity in the mode of goodness. Who comes to your mind? That's Brahma. Brahma, yeah. So, Brahma, he heard the two syllables, tapa, and he sat down and he performed austerity. And he got actually darshan of Krishna, who came and said, "Thank you very much." And he shook his hand. It's pretty cool. Krishna comes and shakes your hand. And he said, "Don't be anxious and don't be depressed. Whatever you're praying for has already been granted so many times." In other words, you're not the first MI student or the first, the first Brahma. This has happened before you. So just get on with it, Just do what you have to do as a service, but in a detached mode of thinking. And in this way, you will be able to serve me, and you'll be able to do something of substance, something of value. Wow, it stopped. It's pretty amazing. So, I wanted to read two verses from the Bhagavatam, which are very much related to what we're hearing here. And they're quoted by the Acharyas in the purport. One is 2nd Canto, 9th chapter, text 23. The Lord speaks to Brahma, "O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance, when you were perplexed in your duty. Such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are none different." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The penance by which one can see the personality of Godhead face to face is to be understood as devotional service to the Lord, and nothing else. Because only by discharging devotional service in transcendental love can one approach the Lord. Such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and is none different from Him. You want to hear that sentence again? Such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and is none different from Him. What kind of penance? Penance that is discharged in devotional service with an attitude to please the Lord is none different from Him. Such acts of internal potency are exhibited by non-attachment for material enjoyment. Then Prabhupada speaks about the enjoying spirit and the living entity who is caught up in his own plans and ideas. And at the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, one cannot, however, be engaged in a penance of devotional service without being completely freed from all sins. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, only a person who is completely free from all reactions of sins can engage himself in the worship of the Lord. Brahmaji was sinless, and therefore he faithfully discharged the advice of the Lord, tapa. And the Lord, being satisfied with him, awarded him the desired result. And now it comes. Are you ready? Therefore, only love and penance combined can please the Lord. And thus one is able to attain His complete mercy. He directs the sinless, and the sinless devotee attains the highest perfection of life. So austerity or tapa is a requirement, but in and of itself it's not enough. It has to be performed with the right intention and with an attitude to please the Lord. There is anukul and pratikul, to do things in a way that is beneficial for oneself, and there is doing it to please the Lord. So both are both are valid, but they have a different intention, they have a different result. So, why am I going to class? So I get a passing mark? So I get a diploma? I mean, why am I here? What is my motivation? That is a very important point to know. It's still beeping. It's amazing, huh? We should have a bucket of water. You can submerge it. So, what is my intention? Is that anyone's phone or? Probably in there, right? No one's there. So, what is my intention? Why am I giving class? Why am I going to the morning program? Why do I get up? Why do I chant Hare Krishna? What do I want to get out of this? What do I put in? My intention is very important. To become aware of our own intention. And oftentimes we're not really aware of our own intentions. Have you noticed? You have noticed that we're not so aware of our own intentions till Krishna makes us aware of our own intentions. And sometimes it's quite painful because we already have made up our mind why we want to do something, how we want to do it, and we got all the reasons and all the arguments, but it's not happening the way we want it to happen. And then, usually, there's frustration, there's anger, there's resentment, there's blame, there's dissatisfaction. And then at some point we realize, maybe this is not the way to go. Maybe I'm not really Krishna conscious. Maybe we could have done this differently. You know that realization when that sinks in, finally? Maybe we could have done this differently. So, Lord Brahma is telling Rudra, your time has not come yet. There is a time for everything. There's a time for destruction, but it's not now. Now is the period of creation. So, your services will be called for, but not right now. Right now, perform austerity. And then all good things will come from that. So, austerity is a requirement, and it is built into the process of devotional service. Srila Prabhupada gave us the 4 regulative principles of freedom. He asked us to chant 16 rounds, to attend morning program and Bhagavatam class, to go for darshan of the deities. And yes, it requires a little bit of commitment to do those things. But when we acquire not just a sense of duty, not just a sense of, or else I will get punished, but if we acquire a taste because we understand that this is pleasing to Guru and Krishna, and through their pleasure, through their happiness, that is my happiness, then we don't want to miss this opportunity because we can see that this is a way how to please Krishna. Just like now we are in this period of the Katyayani Vrat, where the gopis perform the austerity of getting up early, going to take cold bath in the river Jamuna, and to eat very simple food, havishyana, which is rice and dal boiled without any spices and any salt or turmeric, and to perform different types of activities of worship for one single purpose, to attain Krishna. That was their only objective, to attain Krishna. So if we're doing whatever austerity we're doing to attain Krishna, then those austerities are beneficial. But if our intention is something else, then they will be an obstacle. Because we will have to enjoy whatever facility and whatever situation we have created by our austerity. There's another verse that I want to read. So give me a second and I'll get there. And that is 8th canto, 7th chapter, 44. Somebody knows it by heart? This will come up in the test. 8:7:44. Tapyante lokatapena sadava prayasho janaha paramaradhanam taddi purushasya kilatmanaha. It is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here is an explanation of how those engaged in activities for the welfare of others are very quickly recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapter 68-69, Yaidam paramam guyam mat bhakteshu avidasyati, and nacha tasman panusheshu kaschin me priyakritamaha. One who preaches the message of Bhagavad Gita to my devotees is most dear to me. No one can excel him in satisfying me by worship. There are different kinds of welfare activities in this mature world, but the supreme welfare activity is the spreading of the Krishna consciousness movement. Krishna consciousness. Other welfare activities cannot be effective, for the laws of nature and the results of karma cannot be checked. It is by destiny or the laws of karma that one must suffer or enjoy. For instance, if one's given a court order, he must accept it, whether it brings suffering or profit. Similarly, everyone is under obligations to karma and its reactions. No one can change this. Therefore, the Shastra says, one should endeavor for that which is never obtained by wandering up and down the universe. One should endeavor? Yeah? For that which is never obtained by wandering up and down the universe as a result of the reactions of karma. What is that? One should endeavor to become Krishna conscious. If one tries to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, he should be understood to be performing the best welfare activity. The Lord's automatically very pleased with him. If the Lord's pleased with him, what is left for him to achieve? If one has been recognized by the Lord, even if he doesn't ask the Lord for anything, the Lord, who is within everyone, supplies him whatever he wants. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshema vahamyaham. Again, as stated here, tapyante lokatapena sadava prayasho janaha. The best welfare activity is raising people to the platform of Krishna consciousness, since the conditioned souls are suffering only for want of Krishna consciousness. The Lord himself also comes to mitigate the suffering of humanity. He cites Bhagavad Gita 4, 7, and 8, which are Yada yada hidharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam madharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Next. Thank you. All the Shastras conclude, therefore, that spreading the Krishna consciousness movement is the best welfare activity in the world, because of the ultimate benefit this bestows upon people in general. The Lord very quickly recognizes such service performed by a devotee. So this is in the 8th canto. Very famous verse. Now we also know from Bhagavad Gita, prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasya ahankara vimudatma kartamiti manyate. Karta aham. I am the doer. I did it. Have you ever said that or heard that? Sometimes that's all you hear, right? I did. And then you think like, it reminds me of a verse in Bhagavad Gita, right? Huh? So, now of course, nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect. And I am nobody. Thus, I am perfect. Now, if we understand that I'm insignificant, then that is perfect. It means I have understood my true nature. Sometimes somebody comes up to you and asks you, who are you? And then you say, well, don't you know who I am? Or I'm in charge here, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. And immediately you're in trouble. Have you noticed? Immediately you're in trouble. Because people will start blaming you, they start asking things from you, expecting things from you, right? But try it out. Do this mind exercise. The next time somebody asks you, who are you? You tell them, I am nobody. And I guarantee you, most likely, they'll just turn around and walk away. It works. It's amazing. Huh? But as soon as we say, I did it, I'm in charge, this is my thing, immediately you'll get attacked. So, to do service for service sakes, to please Krishna, is what Srila Prabhupada taught us. Pure devotional service, for Krishna's pleasure. Happy to play whatever role Krishna wants me to play. That is the topic, austerity that is pleasing to Krishna, not for some destructive or some expedient, some selfish purpose, but austerity that is there to please the Lord, will actually be beneficial for all living entities and will ultimately attract Krishna's attention. It will attract Krishna's pleasure. And if we have Krishna's attention, if we have Krishna's pleasure, there's nothing you cannot obtain. Hare Krishna. Questions, reflections, comments? You got the mic.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. So the question is this. You was mentioning how the austerities, the goal of the austerity is to please Krishna. So Dhruva Maharaj performed austerity, but he don't have that on mind, to please Krishna. But one way or other, he get the benefit. So how we can understand if we perform some austerities, even though in relation to get some material enjoyment, and we get the highest goal.
Dhruva, his intention was mixed. He wanted to find the Lord to fulfill his purpose. So the Lord was involved. The Lord was in the picture. It wasn't just he was doing something in order to get something. He knew that if I get the Lord, he's the one who will be able to fulfill my desire. So because he endeavored with the right means, he got a beneficial result. So much so that he became aware of his own shortcoming. And he lamented that, something wasn't right. And he was able to correct that. Unless there is introspection and a sense of guilt and then rectification, there's not real progress. So Dhruva was mixed, but then by the mercy of Narad Muni and by the mercy of the Lord, he came out very glorious. So Dhruva is giving us an example. There are other examples. For instance, Kubja. She said, I want you to only enjoy with me. And the acharyas say, yes, she was related with the Lord and she was offering herself in service to the Lord, but her intention was selfish. And she was unfortunate because Krishna was not willing and not saying he's not able to grant her desire. So, because Krishna has to interact with all living entities, not just with one living entity. So the acharyas give us the purports, how to understand these different examples, and how to see what applies for me, what can I learn from this, so not to go down that line. But Dhruva endeavored with honest means, and he got a very beneficial result. Other questions? Rameshwar Prabhu.
Thank you for that enlightening class. When I first became a devotee and I started hearing that the purpose of life is tapasya, or austerity, due to misconceptions, I started relating that word to some sentimental idea of a yogi in a cave somewhere, shutting off the world. And I thought that's the meaning of austerity. Then later on, as a devotee, I started to learn that it's a path for purification, but it still didn't seem like it's going to make me happy. And the nature of every living entity is to be happy and to search for happiness. So how can, it's a rhetorical question, how can we reconcile the idea of abstinence and being happy?
Well, you know, the mind is very crafty. Do you have a crafty mind? Yeah? So the mind is pretty much willing to rationalize and ratify anything, right? So you ask people, why do you do what you do? They're like, because, you know, it pays the bills, or gets me what I want, or I'm being happy. I get happiness from it. So the mind has its way of rationalizing, but it's not really logical, it's a fallacy, because things don't work like that. That's why we need Shastra. And amongst the three pramanas, or the three, you know, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, the three agencies that we should consult, Shastra is the foundation. Because Guru is the one who teaches Shastra, and sadhus are the ones who are following Shastra and applying Shastra in their life. But Shastra is the real substance. That's why we always ask people, okay, where do you got this from? Like, what's the pramana? What's the evidence of what you just said? If you don't have anything as real evidence, you got nothing to stand on. So the mind is very crafty, and it's conjecturing up all kinds of ideas. Like, if I just be very, very renounced or abstinent, you know, from whatever that might be, then, you know, that will be the perfection. But, you know, there's so much austerity in this world, but it's not, for the most part, it's not directed towards pleasing Krishna. Excuse me. And that's why it's not really beneficial.
What I learned from Prabhupada is that to equate the word austerity with higher taste.
Yeah, but that is tapo divyam putrakayena sadvam shutyet brahmasokyam tvanantam. That is austerity which is directed, which is focused for the right purpose to please Krishna. Otherwise,
that's our sadhana.
There's plenty of people who are not eating or not doing this or not doing that for whatever reason, and it's not bringing them anywhere closer to Krishna. In fact, people are austere, and oftentimes, because of that austerity, what did we hear? Rudra resides in austerity. Huh? And then they drown in small puddles of anger. Has this ever happened to you? All of a sudden you become angry, and you just burn up in anger, and all your pious credits are gone. What a bummer. For what? For nothing. So we have to be mindful to really remind ourselves, okay, tapo divyam, not just tapa, but tapo divyam, austerity to please Krishna. So before we embark on whatever it is that we're embarking on, we should really check ourselves and analyze, is this really with the intention to please Krishna, to give pleasure to Krishna. Like the Nawab asks Sanatana Goswami, you got to come with me. I'm going to Orissa, to conquer, and I need you. You're my minister, and you're running the show for me. And he said, I cannot go because you're going there to give pain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and to the devotees there. So I cannot go with you on that venture. So we should feel free to abstain. We should feel free to unsubscribe to whatever it is that is not really giving pleasure to Krishna. Just like November, December, surrender. So this is the time, and it's not just about, okay, a few quotes and we put out a few books, but it's, am I surrendering to Krishna? Or am I just surrendering to my mind and senses and to my own plans? That is the question. What is my intention? Have I really bought into being a servant, being a order carrier of Rupa Raghunath, of the Guru Parampara? Have I embraced that concept? Or do I still think that I'm an independent agent, an independent operator? Once I actually willingly surrender the only thing that is in my possession, what is that? What is the only thing in your possession? Your little bit of free will, right? It's not unlimited free will. Like you saw how long it took me to get that voice in there to stop. It's little, tiny free will. But if I voluntarily direct that little bit of free will and I say, Krishna, I would like to give that free will, that attention, consciously to you in service. Krishna is very pleased, because if a kid comes up to you and gives you all he's got, maybe a flower, maybe a coin, it may be a smile, I was in, where was that? It's a few moons ago. Central America, Tegucigalpa, that means Honduras. And the preaching center is right next to a school. And I was just on the street chanting, and there is a primary school. And there was one young girl, maybe seven or 8 years old, and she was inside the school, and through the gate, she saw me walking on the street, and she went like this. And she smiled at me. And I was like, how come? How come, Like, they teach you in America, right? Don't smile at strangers. Don't talk to weird people. Right? So, different cultures, different places, different habits. So the point is, am I doing this to please Krishna? Or am I doing this to pursue my agenda? To build my little staircase to whatever I imagine to be heaven, It may be Mars, it may be the top of the mountain, it may be the top of the pile, it may be whatever. So, we ought to be mindful. Otherwise, we will lament inevitably that I pursued things that were not really pleasing to Krishna. I really cut myself short. So, yes, we started questions, and there is your mic.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the enlivening class, Navina Nirada Prabhu. I just wanted to ask you, maybe you can comment just a little bit, like in the first canto where it describes the 4 pillars of Dharma, austerity, cleanliness, truth, and mercy. And Prabhupada mentions in a purport in one of the verses how intoxication breaks austerity. Could you just comment a little bit about that?
Yes, because if you intoxicated, then you can't really be austere because because you need your intoxication continuously, and you do whatever it takes to get it. You'll do atrocious things, illegal things. You break any law just to get your intoxication. So that's why it breaks austerity. Austerity means to stay sober. To stay sober. To say, okay, I don't need this, I don't want this, this is not beneficial for me, and this is not pleasing to Krishna. That's why a devotee naturally is austere, because he's staying sober. Saying, no, I'm not going to do that. And that also means that if there are situations where we realize this will compromise my faculties, then we disengage. We take ourselves out of that situation consciously, because we know otherwise we're going to get compromised. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, thank you for the class. You have mentioned how Brahmaji said to Rudra that your service will come later. Till that time, you perform austerity. So that clicked something in me. Like in my case, in my personal life, I see that many devotees are contributing to Prabhupada's movement very nicely. You know, this devotee is doing that devotee is doing that. And many times I see when I come into the equation and the things don't go properly, when I'm out of the equation, that is when the services are going very nicely. So is it this way? Should I take it this way, that till that time my service opportunity comes, I have to continue doing austerity? Or is it like I push here and there? What do you suggest, Prabhu? Like, can you
Yes,
please
oftentimes we can serve by not interfering. It's one of my main services, not to interfere, trying not to interfere. It's hard. It's hard sometimes. But once we get that figured out, then Krishna will also empower us to see maybe it's not the way how I want to do it. Maybe I have to understand the context and see that there's a different way how I should be able to serve. But because Rudra is very focused on what Rudra does, and so Rudra doesn't want to do other things, and that's why Rudra is only useful for a specific purpose in a specific situation. But if my attitude is kinkaro, what should I do? What's my service? Then you can act in many capacities. But if you're a one-trick pony, you know, we can just do one thing. And if that thing is not available, then no service for me. It's not. So the more our ability to adapt and to be flexible, the more service opportunity will be there for us. Just like Srila Prabhupada. He came, he performed all the austerity. He said, I created your pious credits. He created it by his austerity. By staying up in the night and translating, by living in people's living rooms, by living a very austere and a very difficult life. He created not just our pious credits, but as you mentioned, because he wasn't stereotyped. He was willing to adapt according to the need of the situation. Krishna could empower him and speak through him to the world by his books, by his classes, and by his example. And he's still speaking to the world through his books, his words, and his example, and his expansions. Sangopangastra Parshadam. So, as long as I think I'm a student, or I'm a pujari, or I'm a manager, or I'm a housewife, or I'm a businessman, or I'm a monk, I'm a renunciate, limited. We limit ourselves. But as soon as we understand that I'm a servant, what does Krishna want me to do in this situation? And see it as an opportunity for service. Then, unlimited opportunity for service. Otherwise, sit down. Chup kore boshe tako. Sit down and be quiet and perform austerity till your time to do whatever it is that you want to do comes. But that time may take a long while. How long did it take till Rudra was allowed to come to do his thing? At the end of Brahma's day, which is a long time. But if you're willing to be of service, then service is available. If we're willing to adapt and be there for others. And sometimes you have to listen to people. Sometimes you just have to, be nice with people. And that's what it takes. And then they will naturally be interested. And yes, we should also give people books, give them prasadam, teach them how to chant the holy name. And you will see that Krishna will use you as an instrument. And you will do things and say things that you didn't know you were capable of. Not like erratic, outrageous, and crazy things, but things that are quite amazing. Because you will see how Krishna is using you as an instrument to touch people's lives. And that is the highest form of intimacy, the highest form of love, the highest form of happiness. When we are in perfect, complete union with Krishna, one in purpose, one in desire, and there is no more debate or discussion. People just naturally feel attracted. They feel naturally drawn. That is Sankirtan, the complete glorification of the holy name. Not this is only for my kind, for my type, for my group, for the select few, for the insiders. No, this is for everybody. But as soon as the mind says, only I can do this, the red flag should go up. Only I can do this. No. Everyone can do this. We've all been Brahma. We've all done all these things. But maybe, most likely, our intention wasn't completely pure to please Krishna. And that's why we had to go for the scenic route and do a few other things and take a few other roles. Because we thought, well, Brahma, it was okay, but it wasn't that great, Maybe there's something cooler, there's something more exciting to be than Brahma. Huh? Some place you haven't been yet, something you haven't done yet, something we haven't tasted yet. Have you ever thought like that? Well then, you got to go. You got to go on your little journey. So, but the more we understand, time is short. Krishna wants us back. Much more than we do. Atapi deva jambujadvaya prasada leshanu grihita eva hi janasya tattvam bhagavan mahimno achanya ikopi chiran vichinvan. Lord Brahmā, the same Brahma, he prays to Krishna that without a little bit of a fraction of your mercy, no one's able to understand you or appreciate you. Where can we get that fraction? Huh? By the mercy of the spiritual master. By pleasing Guru, we please Gauranga. And in this way, we attract that mercy. And then Krishna will manifest himself in our lives in a very powerful way. And he will empower us. So don't get stuck on tapasya, because Rudra is situated in austerity. And you will meet him. Huh? And it might not be so pleasant when you meet Rudra, because Rudra is very powerful. But when we do whatever we do with love to please Krishna, as Prabhupada says in the purport to 10.10, Tesham Satati Yuktanam, then if we're serious and sincere and we do it with an intention to please Krishna, then Krishna will give you the intelligence. And intelligence means the wherewithal, the means, how to act and serve in a way so you can come back to him. So, tomorrow is Gita Jayanti, Moksha Ekadasi, it's a good day to try to show a little bit of kindness and compassion to others by giving them a book, by telling them something about Krishna. Thank you for your kind attention. Grantarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.